那王子踏上征途，寻找到了主岛公主。森林里小木屋，手牵手在云端漫步。百花山竹曲着小路，精灵和爱人跳起舞。夕阳映红了天幕，城堡迎接她的光。Hi everyone, my name is Terra and I will be reading you a story. It's called The Tale of Squirrel Nutkin. The main character of this story is a squirrel. Its name is Nutkin. This is a squirrel, if you don't know. Okay, let's start. So this story is by Beatrix Potter. Okay, so these, if you can see, they're other characters from the other stories I'll be telling you, because I'll be telling you other stories instead of just this Squirrel Nutkin book. I'll be reading you a lot of more, like, for example, Peter Rabbit, Little Benjamin, and more. So let's start the story. The Tale of Squirrel Nutkin by Beatrix Potter. Okay, so here's a photo first, and then let's read it. This is a tale about a tale that belongs to a little red squirrel, and his name was Nutkin. He had a brother called Twinkleberry and a great many cousins who lived in a wood at the edge of the lake. In the middle of the lake, there is an island covered with trees and nut bushes, and among those trees stands a hollow oak tree, which is the house of an owl who is called Old Brown. Okay, next page. One autumn, when the nuts were ripe and the leaves on the hazelnut bushes were golden and green, Nutkin and Twinkleberry and all the other little squirrels came out of the woods and down to the edge of the lake. They made little rafts out of twigs. They paddled away over to the water to Owl Island to gather nuts. Each squirrel had a little sack and a large oar, and spread out of his tail for a sail. They also took with them an offering of 3 fat mice as a present for Old Brown, and put them down upon his doorstep. Then Twinkleberry and other little squirrels made a low bow and said politely, "Oh, Mr. Brown, will you favor us with this permission to gather nuts upon your island?" But Nutkin was excessively impertinent in his manners. He gobbled up and down like a little berry or cherry, singing, "Riddle me riddle, rot-tot-tot," a little wee man in a red coat, a staff in his hand, and a stone in his throat. "If you tell me this riddle, I'll give you a groat." Now this riddle is an is as old as the hills. Mr. Brown paid no attention whatever to Nutkin. He shut his eyes obstinately. Wow. Guys, can I show you these pages because... Okay, because I actually think I forgot to show you guys the pages. I'm sorry about that. Okay, let's go. Now this riddle is as old as the hills. Mr. Brown paid no attention whatever to Nutkin. He shut his eyes obstinately and went to sleep. Okay. The squirrels filled their little sacks with nuts and sailed away home in the evening. But next morning they all came back again to Owl Island and Pickleberry and the others. Brought a fine fat mole and laid it on the stone in front of Old Brown's doorway and said, "Mr. Brown, will you favor us with your gracious permission to gather some more nuts?" But Nutkin, who has no respect, began to dance up and down, tickling old Mr. Brown with a nettle and sing, "Oh, Mr. B, reel me ree, hitty pitty within the wall, hitty pitty without the wall. If you touch Hitty Pitty, Hitty will bite. Hitty Pitty will bite you." Wow. Do you guys feel for Mr. Old Brown? Because I think so. Well, yeah, I think so because he'd been treated really poorly by Squirrel Nutkin. And if you say no spoilers, well, you should just skip. Well, yeah. But I'm going to tell you guys anyway. In the end, Mr. Old Brown, well, he made this Nutkin squirrel's tail break into 2 pieces. Now let's continue. Mr. Brown woke up suddenly and carried the mole into his house. He shut the door in Nutkin's face. Presently, a little thread of blue smoke from the wood fire came up from the top of the tree, and Nutkin peeped through the keyhole and sang, a house full, and you cannot gather a bowl full." The squirrels reached for nuts all over the island and filled the little sacks. But Nutkin gathered oak apples and yellow oak apples and scarlet and sat upon a beach stump, playing marbles and watching the door of Mr. Old Brown. Guys, you want to know what's going to happen on the 3rd day? Please check that next video.